You know, when you first, sheesh, when you first become aware of the inner makings and the depths of this reality, it's easy to stay in the light and trust to think that as long as you stay a good person with a pure heart and you visualize your desires and you hack the matrix into love and light, that life will be smooth, smooth sailing, and positive, pleasurable. Maybe not all the time, but at least a lot of the time. But there are some universal laws, and not even universal laws. There are just codes and backstories that are at play beyond the commonly known universal laws. Everybody is like, oh, as within, so without. You are what you attract, or you attract what you are, X, Y, and Z. And maybe for some people, for sure, it depends on your cosmic code, the purpose for your soul, depends on your ranking in your role, in the grand scheme of this cosmic play. As somebody who has played the game of love and light their entire life, and yet has still faced such betrayal, trauma, abuse, isolation, disrespect, every word under the sun. I have experienced things that I do not deserve. Things that I do not put out into the world has been manifested into my life. And commercialized spiritualism would tell people like me that it's my fault, that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not manifesting enough. And while on one hand, this plays a part because the traumas, the generational narratives that we go through get ingrained deeply into our subconscious. And so we do have to continue to revisit the reprogramming of our minds. But the existence of such tragedies is not a depiction of who you are as a person. And it's really actually naive, ignorant, and problematic to believe such black and white representation and expressions. Because as we see, there are some evil motherfuckers who have power, who do not face the same traumas, like the same density, the same heaviness. Not to say they never will, not to say like things don't come up, we don't know the inner makings of their life. But while people who are love and light are homeless and, ideation of ending their life and isolated and not supported, all these things, we do not see the same thing for people who have evil intent. And even the people that we've met in life who have ill intent for us and others, who use other people, who deceive, lie, betray, manipulate, all those things. Friends, family, ex-lovers. And yes, while karma is a thing still, these things, these universal codes and universal laws do not play out so black and white as humans would like to believe. And I am speaking this from motherfucking experience. So it's hard to hear. It's challenging to receive that life really was designed to be this challenging. Yet it can also be comforting to know that it's not your fault, that you're not alone, that you haven't done anything wrong, and that you are not being punished. And this message is so needed because I had a woman come into my comments when I was asking for support, basically tell me that I have not hacked the system, hacked the matrix, used manifestation tips enough, and that is why I can't help myself. And thinking like that, especially as spiritual leaders, is very troubling and very problematic. And what I have experienced in life was very purposeful. One, because things needed to be transmuted within my bloodline. Not everybody has the same traumas in story, genetically, biologically, generationally. Not everyone has the same intensity, the same darkness that is present within their family. And so for me, I realized a extreme darkness within my family as a child. If you were afraid of the dark and you could feel that there was something in the house that you feared, when some of us were walking around the house with our backs against the wall and real cautiously, it's because you felt darkness, dark spirits, dark entities within your household. And so not everybody has that experience. So not everybody can empathize with certain journeys. And therefore, you just should not speak on it because you're doing more harm than any good that you intend to do by trying to speak hacks and manifestation tips, because life is not black and white. And so on top of certain assignments, cosmic assignments to transmute such darkness within bloodlines, different people also have different ranks, different responsibilities, and different roles within the cosmic codes, within universal play. And so when you are a true leader, like you didn't seek to be a leader, you didn't try to gain all this information, just to be a leader, you don't look for the accolades. You're not looking for the money. You're truly looking like you truly feel called and disturbed, not left alone until you help people who have gone through the things that you have gone through. You are put through more tests and tribulations so that you can relate to more people's stories. And I've realized that for myself. I'm able to migrate and move around and integrate into so many different circles, relate to so many different people of different cultures, different languages, and different stories because of everything that I've been through. I've dealt with houselessness. I've dealt with being unsheltered and malnourished and having disordered eating. I've dealt with the ideation of the end of life and mental health, dis-ease, disorder. I've dealt with narcissistic family. I've dealt with adults in my family bullying me as a toddler. I've dealt with being exposed by pleasure at a young age. I've dealt with incest. I've dealt with cheating in relationships. I've dealt with just about everything under the sun, and that's not to brag, but that is to put into perspective. One, for the people who have not gone through these things, and I know that this is so purposeful because even since I've been in Costa Rica, the first few weeks I was out here, one of the women that I met, we were having a conversation, and she was just speaking on, it was something with family and like parents and how she didn't experience like toxic family dynamics. And so there's some concept, I think maybe like going no contact with parents or something like that. But it was something that I had experienced and that I was currently dealing with and still dealing with, in terms of toxic family members, unhealthy, harmful, immature family members, incapable to love. And she did not experience that as a child. And so she could not fathom the experience, the journey, the healing, X, Y, and Z. And I didn't say this to her, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you can't understand this because you didn't go through it. And it's not meant for you to comprehend. And you can only empathize and sympathize as far as you can try. Like, like, this is for the people with so much damage, who feel so damaged, who feel so dark and heavy, no matter what they try. I feel you, because I am you. And not many people can understand multiple layers of trauma. People don't understand, like, especially, like, even just having a supportive family. Be grateful. Because when you don't have that first line of defense as a child of people who actually have the capacity to care for you and protect you, even beyond the physical things. It's the microaggressions too. That if you didn't experience it, you can't understand. then you can't help those who have experienced it if you have not experienced it yourself. So for people who have gone through traumas that are more covert and more hidden, you know, the ones that are lies. Oh my gosh. Releasing. My throat and my heart chakra is opening. Hold on.